Wondering what the F has happened to your body and your life? You're in the right place, my friend. Welcome to Season 3 of Transforming 45, where we dive into the incredible stories of how brilliant humans are navigating the midlife squeeze with courage, passion, and a healthy dose of humor. Don't miss out on any of our heart-led episodes. Hit the subscribe button, leave a 5-star review, and if you're inspired, share an episode you love with a friend. It means more to me than I can express that you're choosing to spend time here and sharing our message of midlife revolution. So let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Transforming 45. This week, I am really excited to welcome Kerstin Schulze. She is a powerhouse in the entertainment and wellness industry, bringing energy, humor, and authenticity to every role she plays, both on and off screen. Originally from Germany, Kerstin's journey began with a silver medal at the Junior Olympics in Berlin. From there, she pursued her love for performance with formal theater training and a business degree before making her way to Los Angeles. Her acting career includes standout roles in American Horror Story Roanoke, directed by Angela Bassett, Flaked, opposite Will Arnett, and the family feature Rescue Dogs. She has also worked alongside industry icons like Tina Fey, John Goodman, Amy Schumer, and Kathy Bates, showcasing her comedic timing and ability to tackle diverse characters with ease. Off-screen, Kerstin is a trailblazer in the wellness world. Over 24 years ago, she founded Party and Diet, Elite Personal Training, an innovative fitness company that specializes in short, effective workouts tailored to busy professionals. And do we ever need those right now? She prioritizes sustainable health and wellness, an ethos that resonates deeply with women navigating the physical and emotional changes of midlife. Now in her early 50s, Kerstin brings a deeply personal perspective to the conversation around midlife transformations. As a perimenopausal woman and seasoned fitness expert, she understands the challenges of maintaining vitality, strength, and balance during this transitional stage of life. Through her work, Kerstin empowers women to embrace midlife with confidence, focusing on strategies that blend wellness, mindfulness, and self-compassion. Kerstin, welcome to the show. I am so glad that you're here today.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you for having me. What an introduction. Love it. Can I play that every morning?
You really should. I was just having this conversation with another guest because I always find when someone reads my bio, I start to shrink a little bit. And she said, no, lean into that. Listen to all of the incredible accomplishments you have done over your lifetime. And so this idea, having that on repeat, listen, look at all of the things I've been able to do in this life. And isn't that incredible?
Which is so important, especially when we hit 50 and we are just talking about, my God, changes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything from what's happening physically in our bodies, as well as everything that is happening in our identity and how we see ourselves in the world. So this is a perfect transition into that first question. So Kerstin, who are you and how did life introduce you to this version?
A girl from Germany that had big dreams and believed in them and came from a not supportive surroundings and had to find my own tribe and my own powerhouse and believed that I could do it. And the way it got me here was through living in my dreams and my passion and not giving up and believing that and listening to my intuition that I always call myself a fit creative. And I always was in fitness and the creative side all my life. Because it felt good. And how I got to where I'm at today is because I really lived in my passion. And now with 51 and going through the transformation, what really helps me is that I am living where I thrive and where I also have questions, through the changes. Because when I created this image of myself and I've had perfected it. And then all of a sudden, all these changes come and whoa, what's going on? Why are my legs not looking as great as they normally do? Why am I holding water? Can I not remember things? And I feel like I have this fog in my brain Why all of a sudden do I have these sweats and feel hot and cold? And all of these changes that we all go through in premenopause, and I've now not had my period for over 12 months, so I can, I think, officially say I'm in menopause.
Yes, you are. Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's been a journey. It's been a mind fuck. It's been a revelation. And I've realized I'm going through my second puberty.
Yes. Yeah. That's a way I've been describing perimenopause as well, the perimenopause and menopause transition. I want to comment on this. And that is when we talk about a second experience of puberty, just the same level of shift and changes happening in our bodies, but we are at such a different life phase and our context of life is so different. And there's not as much space to give ourselves that grace. And society also has a really strong concept of what puberty is, right? People understand that and they expect teenagers and kids who are going through that transition to behave in certain ways. And so we give them the space to do that because we understand what's happening. At this transition, however, that same space and grace doesn't necessarily exist. And I'm wondering what your experience of that has been.
Same way. Yeah. Because, they expect us maturity. They expect us to be sharp all the time, have it together. I just experienced I was in Germany with my boyfriend and we were on the train and I got off the train a station too early. It didn't even register. There's just something that didn't register. But I pre-warned him. I said, I'm going through some menopause brain. If I do something, please double check with me because I don't feel like myself right now. And when it happened, he just followed my guide because maybe because I'm German and he thought, oh, well, she must know where we're going around here. And we got off and he's like, why did you get off the train station early? I was like, it didn't even register in my brain. So when he then said that, I felt so ashamed and I felt so dumb and I felt so like, what is wrong with me? I felt so frustrated. And then I said to myself, stop, Kirsten, stop these negative thoughts. I gave myself a little pity party for 10 minutes. And then I said, enough. This is just what's happening right now. That glass of champagne on the train was probably not helping either because sugar just makes you even dumber. And I just realized it's okay. We're just going to flow with it and we're going to learn from it. And I just have to learn now to double check things that are really important to me. And when I was a teenager, I was going through the same thing. All these hormones are throwing around and trying to balance itself out. And I'm just going through the same thing. And I just thank God he gave me my grace period. But he has told me, he said, yeah, in the last month, I've noticed that your brain is not doing the same as before. But it was more frustrating to myself because I'm so sharp. I get it. I maneuver around by myself. And so I had to really stop myself from beating myself up in a negative state of mind.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that so honestly because we all find ourselves in that place. I can't tell you the number of times I walk into a room and wonder, what am I doing here? Like I open the fridge. What was I looking for? And that strategy that you mentioned is something that I also have been implementing, which is one of the gifts that comes with the challenge of this shift that's happening in our bodies because it demands us to be more present. So one of the things that I do now is when I put something down or I know that it's something important that I need to remember, I actually will say, Lisa, stop, take a minute, pay attention. Look at where you put this, or this person said this to you. And I repeat it to myself. I think I need to respond to this. So the beauty I find in it is that same sister, same frustrations of I have a very sharp brain that is used to working at a certain speed. And there is something really beautiful about the way my body is telling me to slow down and be more present in what I am doing in the moment.
And there's actually nothing wrong with that, is there now? Because if we are taking a moment, and I think because we're living in such a fast-paced world, and we have, as women especially, we have way too many hats. And there's so many expectations of us to look good, to be smart, to be accomplished, to own your own house, to have a big savings account. How dare you not be fun all the time and take everything light and not take anything too bitchy or nothing. There's so many expectations. And when we get to say, let's slow down, let me take time for myself, I think we are loving ourselves and giving ourselves grace that is not given by anybody else because we have to wear all these hats.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And one of the things I think you're in a really unique position to talk about is that I feel like it is the work of women of our generation to make these shifts and changes, to sort of to be wayfinders for the people who are coming behind us, right? That when I started this podcast, it was because I had a moment of realizing I was at the end of the story I had written for myself. I had a career, I had family, I had partner, I had home, like all the things. I had all the things. And I had never once considered what came after that because
Mm.
there isn't a lot of story, right? We know in television, in media, in movies, there's like, think about the whole genre of coming of age. We know what it is to be a teenager, to be a young adult, to be a young human, to be a woman starting out her career. There's so much story around that, around young families. And then there's really, it's burgeoning. I realize we are starting to see some narrative, but it's still such a small component of the stories we're telling. And I'm wondering what your experience of being in that world is and how that feels for you.
Huh. Great question. I have a answer to that. Through the pandemic, I went gray, right? My hair was just gray. And I said, you know what? I'm going to let it grow out and I'm just going to embrace it. I thought it looked beautiful. I loved it. I got a lot of compliments. It was healthy. And then, being in the Hollywood world, of being now 50 and having gray hair. I changed agency and I had, with the gray hair, booked two national Super Bowl commercials in one day and it was no problem. But I got with a new agency and they told me I have to get rid of the gray hair because it will put me into a box of looking, they will put me into roles that I'm not ready to play yet, even though I probably would play them. But they just thought that it would be more in my favor to have my more toned down hair, which I have now. And they were right. I booked the Righteous Gemstones and got this amazing opportunity. And it had to do, I don't know if it just had to do with my hair, honestly, but I think it played a part in it because people will put you in a box. If you tell somebody your age as a woman, they want to put you in a box immediately, where I feel I'm at my prime right now. I feel amazing. I feel like I'm economically at a place where I can make different choices. Physically, I'm in my prime. I know my body. Yes, it's going through changes, but overall, I love my body. And to have the knowledge that I have and to be able to do it all over again. I mean, if you think about it, nowadays women live at least in their 80s, late 80s to 90s. So we have another 40 years to do it all over again and not having to take care of children and not having to take care of a husband if we don't want to and we can just be selfish and just take care of ourselves and hang out with our girlfriends. And I love what Jane Fonda said when she said, our girlfriends are the most important people in our life. They support us. They bring us joy. We always put all this weight on a man that they will enrich us, but really it's our own happiness. And I embrace my age. I embrace it even in Hollywood. And thank God I don't just rely on Hollywood to give me my gratification. I get my gratification through my fitness and helping other people feel mentally stronger and more positive about themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It really has to come from inside. And that is again one of the really powerful things about this transition is that it demands, right? Our bodies demand that we pay attention to them now. I mean, we could continue to ignore it. However, that's not going to go well.
No.
No. So the thing that I really love is that it is waking up an entire generation to you have been in service to other people, whoever they may be in your world, and neglected everything about yourself. And one of the things I really loved at the beginning of our conversation, you were talking about the power of dreams and imagination. And it's such a great time to revisit, what dreams do I actually have? What did I really want to be? I was an educator for 20 years, but when I was young, I didn't ever want to be a teacher. Like that was something I did not want to do. And then I went into teaching and I was in it for 20 years. And there were times when I loved it. And I also gave up almost everything about the truth of myself
Mm,
to put myself in that kind of institution every single day.
mm.
And so when I had that moment of I'm on the other side of everything I ever imagined for my life, it was okay, now it is time to dream again. So, how do you see those two pieces, right? The dreaming and the imagining and this creative portion combining with, okay, and now we take care of our bodies.
I think taking care of our bodies and mind, that's the fit creative, right? I call it. I call myself a fit creative. I believe that when we take care of our bodies and take selfish time to ourselves, we get mentally stronger. It's like a dominoes effect. And then once we get physically stronger and we like how we feel, how strong we feel, and we get mentally stronger, that's when we start looking at who am I and what do I want? And then I say, go for it. Whatever it is that you have a passion for, whatever it is that you have a like for, a talent for, explore it. That doesn't mean you have to now become this, I don't know, let's say you like architecture and you just want to explore it for whatever reason. And doesn't mean you have to become this amazing architect, but you could. But explore it and see what it feels like. Take a paint class, take an acting class, see what it is. You always wanted to take a dancing class. Just do it and explore it and see what comes from it. That doesn't mean you have to just do that, but there could be other things that could develop from it that you didn't even know that you liked and that you have a passion for. And for me, I had learned that I've always had a passion for helping people. I always had a passion for making somebody laugh and make them feel good. And I'm doing it in both. I get to do it on TV because I do a lot of comedy, and people always ask me, why comedy? And it's just that feeling of making people laugh. And not taking yourself too serious. I enjoy it. And fitness to me is such a powerful tool for us to age gracefully, longevity, but beyond anything else, I've never seen anybody that works out and doesn't feel good afterwards. Getting there might be tough, and all these obstacles of being, oh, it's easier to sit on the couch and turn on a TV show. But really, when you get your blood flowing and get it moving, it is just feeling of it's just amazing. And it doesn't have to be in a gym. You can just do it anywhere. You can be outside, you can be at home, you can do with friends, whatever makes you do that. But I definitely think it's a tight niche as far as your fitness and your creative side. And then also so much comes out of it. It's like taking a seed, which is your planting muscles, watering it, the sun is shining on it, and then the blossoming, the strength of your mind comes out. And then whatever happens, you don't know what color comes out yet, and that color, I think, is your passion.
Yeah, I really love that. And I really like this marriage of creativity and functional movement because clients that I'm working with or humans that I work with, the biggest struggle is getting into resistance training and weight bearing training. But we know how essential that is. Yes, all movement is good. I'm never going to say no to if you want to move in a certain way, great, do it. And incorporating resistance is a game changer for every lifestyle factor that we know is so key, right? Nutrition, sleep, stress management, and movement. That's the foundation. There's all kinds of other pieces, but those are the lifestyle pieces. And I find that conversation can be challenging because people have said, but I've never moved that way before. And it can feel intimidating. And in this stage of life where motivation, it can be a challenge. I have a very strong workout routine, and I have for almost a decade now, but I find getting out of bed is harder. Getting myself down the stairs, I still do it every day, but it's hard. It's much more challenging. And so incorporating this creativity piece into perhaps doing something that's outside of your comfort zone might be a safe place to sort of bring people in. So I'm wondering, how do you help people get comfortable with movement that they've maybe never done and get over the motivation hump?
The first step I say is because everything is a program. What we have done day in, day out, how we wake up, how we go to bed, what we do during the day is everything is a program that we have programmed ourselves. So to say now all of a sudden, oh, I'm going to just work out, doesn't work that way. So I always say, give me only 5 minutes a day. Pick the favorite time of the day for you where you feel your best. And if you're not at work at that time, great. And if you are, then maybe you have to pick a different time. But give me 5 minutes. You're going to set your timer for those 5 minutes, and you're going to just do some body movements, be it a seated squat, coming from a chair and standing back up and doing that 10 times, doing a reverse crunch on a chair, or just holding your hands and feet up and hold it for 30 seconds just to do a reverse plank, not even a regular plank, and doing a push up against a wall. Very simple things, right? And you do that for 5 minutes, and you do it a circuit. And then when the timer goes off, you have to stop, but you have to do it every single day. And when you've done that every single day for 2 weeks, you have reprogrammed your daily, and it becomes much easier. I think what holds people back is that they have to think, I have to use dumbbells, or I have to do an hour, or I have to, give so much. And I think they get overwhelmed with that. And I think when we take a smaller step and say, I'm just going to do 5 minutes, 3 different exercises, my own body weight, and just do that for 2 weeks, magic happens. Because we're not waiting for motivation. We are being disciplined.
Yes, and that is such an important point because motivation is such it's such a sticky concept because people feel like, "Oh, I have to feel motivated." No, right.
I'm most likely not motivated to work out.
No, exactly. But it is discipline because we have to, like you said, develop that new program. And it's discipline that comes before motivation. It's really challenging to put ourselves into a place where, like you said, okay, I'm going to start a workout routine. I'm going to do 30, 45 minutes every day. That's not going to be successful if it's not something you've already had in your practice because of this myth of motivation, where I really like that 5 minutes because that seems really doable. And it's something that you can work into your day, no matter what it is you're doing or where you are. So how do you support people who are really busy, who maybe are traveling, who are, have, like you said earlier, are wearing lots of different hats? How do you support them to work those 5 minutes into their days?
Do it at work. Set your timer, and let's say every hour. So for instance, most time people have the first bathroom break, cigarette break, coffee break, whatever it is around 10 o'clock, right? 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. First timer. So I'm going to do 10 squats. I'm going to get out of my chair 10 times. I'm going to do 10 push-ups against my table, and I'm going to hold my plank for 30 seconds, and then I'm going to keep on going. Then the next hour, 10 o'clock. And if you can, do it every hour. So by the end of the day, you should have at least 4 times that you've done it. There's your workout while you're at work. And you got your blood flowing, your mind is going. Same thing when you're traveling and you are getting to your hotel room. The first thing you need to do is going to the gym if there is a gym down there. And usually there are free weights, and not sit down on your bed. Because the first day when we travel, usually we don't have meetings. We get to the hotel, we settle things, and there's your opportunity. Or you do your 5 minutes in the morning then before you get to work. because you have 5 minutes. You can do it in your hotel room. You can do a hip thrust of your bed. You can do a wall stance. You can do dips of your chair. You don't need to travel with equipment to work out, but you have to give yourself 5 minutes. And I call it the self-love 5 minutes. You gotta give yourself love, because all you're doing is making your body stronger, and you're not expecting an hour, because a lot of times we don't have an hour. But from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, magic happens.
Thank you for that. I was facilitating a session with a number of teachers, and someone said, "Well, we're all waiting for the photocopier. We could all be doing 10 squats." And I said, "Yeah,
Yes. Or when you wait in front of, it's actually on my Party and Diet Instagram. I post a lot about things we do on a daily that we don't even realize how much time we spend in front of a microwave warming up something for 1 minute. In that 1 minute, you can do 10 squats, 10 push-ups, and some abs while before that is done. And you just worked out without interfering on your daily, because you're standing in front of it anyway and waiting for it, unless you are multitasking, you're doing other things. But why not just do some fitness?
yeah, absolutely. It is a great way to pass the time." And I also loved when they talked about doing it together, because that is building community. And when we're when we're doing things together, one, we can hold each other accountable at that
Mhm.
as well. And it's fun, right? It's so much, it is more fun when you're, and there's a little element of the ridiculous in that too, right? Where there's like, a group of teachers standing in front of a photocopier all doing squats. I can just imagine like
I
this
love it.
scene of a
Yes.
student walking in and seeing this happen. But
Yeah.
there's levity and light and fun in that, and we wanna make sure that we're also remembering that. When you said earlier, we can't take ourselves so seriously, this life is such a strange experiment, and this time in life is beautiful and wonderful and absurd and strange, and so how do you keep yourself in that mindset of not taking yourself so seriously, and bringing in that levity and light and fun, because it's so important?
My mind goes to a negative state, the beta state, I call it. That's a 200 frequency that our brain works. It's the fight or flight state of mind, and it's there to help us to survive. It goes to 24/7. So the way to interrupt it is when it happens that, nope, I love myself. Nope, that's not going to happen. You have to constantly interrupt the state of mind until it becomes a norm. I had it today. I've had some I had some bad news, and I was trying to not let it affect me. So what I did is I had the opportunity to train somebody at the beach before that person showed up. I sit down, got myself quiet, raised my awareness, and said, positive information. I am love, I'm happiness, I'm joy. And I talk to myself like that. So, what I have learned is to interrupt that little voice in my head and saying, you're this, you're not good enough, you're too old, you're blah, 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 this is not going to happen anymore. And I'm like, nope. I'm not even going to listen to you. I'm going to raise my frequency to my theta state and just become aware of what my body's doing, where I'm at, and how blessed I am that I can sit right here and talk to you right now. It's such a blessing. And just to see the little things. And that what also has helped me is, and I learned this from a life coach, is to at night, after a long day of stressful day, is to lay down in bed, not to be on my social media, not to watch any TV, but to write in my journal of all the things that I have done today. It could be from brushing my teeth to driving my car to the grocery store to answering an email to reaching out to a friend to my regular work. I write down every little thing. I have 2 pages most of the time because we do so much in the day. And it gives me this fulfillment of like, wow, I've done a lot today. And then I write down 3 things that I want to accomplish the next day. And no more, I can't write down more than 3. and subconsciously my brain prepares myself for the next day. But I just go to bed with so much peace and less anxiety. And I think that's really important also to lower our cortisol levels, which are already crazy high because of all our hormonal changes.
Yes, absolutely. That's a really good strategy. And I also think it helps us to, going back to early in our conversation, be more present to what we're doing because we only give ourselves credit a lot of the time for the big things, whatever that might be in your day, for going to work in the morning or giving a big presentation or going to your kid's graduation, whatever it is. We give ourselves credit for those big things, but we don't notice the 1 million things that our body does for us during the day that we don't even pay attention to, that we don't even notice because it's being driven by our subconscious brain or by our subconscious mind. And being really grateful that our body is able to function that way. And that's a really good connection also to make to remind yourself of why it's so important that we care for this body in this way because it is miraculous. Our heart beats, we breathe in and out every day, obviously, all day long. And those are things that we don't even think about, but they are life sustaining. And being present to that can be really helpful. Coming back to ourselves again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the slowing things down and being present and where you are is so much more important than fulfilling somebody else's expectations.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And how do you manage the weight of expectation?
Ooh, good one. It's not always easy
Mm,
because I have very high expectations of myself. And being on these podcasts has actually given me a sense of self awareness because we talk more about what I've experienced, have gone through, and I have more self-love for myself, because I'm like, wow, I actually, I've done that and I've done that and I've helped that. It gives me a great fulfillment to share my story so it can help others. And expectations of others, I've learned it's okay to say no. It's okay to say yes to me 'cause it feels so darn good to say no. And in the beginning, it was awkward because you feel like you're disappointing somebody or whatever. And even friends, there's friends that were in my life that I have no tolerance for right now because we're not on the same wave. That doesn't mean I don't wish them well and I don't love them in their own way. I just don't want to be around that energy right now because I want to focus on myself and what I need from me. And the more I say yes to myself, the less I look at other people's expectation. And I think it's a daily practice. Um, I especially I think when you're in a relationship with a man or you have children, there's expectations of, the way we are supposed to be a mom and how we are always supposed to be positive and all these. And in a relationship, how we should always be this perfect woman and being the ugly woman, meaning being selfish and taking the moment and saying, this is how I feel. And if I feel insecure right now, I'm allowed to feel what I feel and give myself self-love to get myself out of that. And I think to be vulnerable is such a beautiful place to be in because you're loving yourself. I would never ever say to little Kirsten, you are wrong for feeling what you're feeling. You are wrong for saying no. I would never say that to her. But how am I saying that to myself as a grown woman? And I want to love that little girl that has been giving, 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 giving. No, it's time for her to get. And so really changing my mindset and what my expectations are of me is to love my little girl.
yeah, it is such a powerful shift of perspective because we all hold that wounded space of that little girl who inevitably in most of our stories, and everyone has very different lived experiences, but something happened along the way that told that little girl that she needed to be different, that she shouldn't be the way that she is, that she was too much or too loud or too big or used her voice too much. And taking time now to to hold space for that little version of ourselves and say, thank you for those gifts, those seeds that were planted. Let's water them now because now we're grown up and we get to make those decisions. And so going back to those pieces of that little human who were told that they needed to be different and really be that version is such an empowering place to be and way to frame this midlife transition.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a healing phase for us, right? The second puberty is stepping into our new life with grace and forgiveness for ourselves and to heal all the things that have been done to us. We all gone through three major things in our life when we became a little girl to a teenager to becoming, and they have helped us or have hurt us. And it is time to say, I need to heal myself and I need to pause and take care of myself and and it's okay.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is okay. Just wrapping up this conversation, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and experience. And I like to leave people with a little bit of joy. So, what is the most joyful thing that is happening in your life right now?
Well, seeing me on HBO, The Righteous Gemstones, as the Kung Fu nanny opposite of Walton Goggins, Baby Billy. It's been great joy because it's been a long dream of mine, and I've worked very hard for it to get to that point in my life and seen it come to life. And where I am now at 51 and saying, I did that. And it brings me incredible joy to step into that and helping other people enjoying working out, showing them how you can enjoy it, and how powerful that is for them.
That is full of joy. And Righteous Gemstones has been on my watch list for a long time. So I will start it now.
Yeah, love
And
it.
I have something to look forward to. Thank you so much for being here today, Kristen. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome. And I wanted to share something, give a little gift for anybody that is your listeners. For my partyanddiet.com is my website for fitness. And if anybody's interested in seeing how we do 10 minutes, how we do 5 minutes, how we do prolonged fast, and all of these things that we have questions about, I'm giving a free month. You get to try it out for free with Party 15 is the code, and you get to try it out, see how you like it. And if there's any questions you have, please reach out to me. I just want to help and support women that are going through transition and wanting to feel good about themselves.
Great. Thank you so much for that.
You're
And
welcome.
all of Kirsten's contact information, those links will all be in the show notes. The code will be there as well. So make sure that you go in and check that out. And thanks again.
You're welcome.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining me on this week's episode of Transforming 45. I hope you feel inspired, empowered, and ready to embrace every facet of your midlife journey. If you enjoyed our conversation, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. These actions make a world of difference in growing our podcast community. Your support helps us reach much more amazing listeners just like you. And don't forget, please share an episode you love with a friend or with your community. Sharing our stories is what helps our community grow. Keep shining your midlife magic, and I'll catch you next week.
Electricast.